Hey there guys, Conceptual Concept 6.9 here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, and I have been shooting a lot of this 7.62x39 Bren 2 lately. I've also been shooting a lot of my KP104 Alpha AK, if you will, with Barwaris. And if you guys don't know, I'm a huge fan of AKs. Did the CZ Bren 2 take its place as my favorite 7.62x39 rifle, or is the 7.62x39 AK still my preference? Well, a little bit nuanced there, but I think some are good at some things, some are good at others, and we'll answer all these questions today and which one I'm going to be keeping going with. So we're going to start off with reliability. The reliability in terms of neglect and lack of maintenance, hands down the AK. I have one AK with over 6,000 rounds through it without any oil, still running strong. This gun I'm reaching, I want to say somewhere in the 3,500 to 4,000 rounds on. Now I have oiled it now and then just because, you know, probably better to be oiled than not, but longest string I've gone without oiling on this is probably 1,600 rounds. So this guy has had zero malfunctions out of the, like, let's say 3,500, 4,000 rounds. And this guy is a little more temperamental, unfortunately. So once I hit about the 1,100 round mark, I want to say, I started to get some failures to feed and failures to eject, as well as I started to get some issues with dropping the bolt and the bolt not seating on all the way on a reload. And it's just because I wanted to see how long this would go without any oil, how well it would hold up, and held up better than my ARs have without oil, suppressed for that many rounds, but not as well as AKs have. I've shot a lot of suppressed on my Zenit Code Alpha AK and no issues. So this guy is definitely more temperamental, will need a little more care. However, I will say at that mark, I just shot some lube in it and kept shooting it. It's starting to have, I'm at about 1,300, 1,400 rounds now, and it's starting to have some issues chambering on an open bolt with a full magazine. So starting to slug up again. I really need to just take it apart and clean it in depth, because at this point, every few hundred rounds, I'm starting to get malfunctions, and that's just the nature of the beast. So the win, hands down, goes to the AK. The Bren 2 holds up better than an AR, but still not as good. Like, not even a close second, it's way behind. So round 2, accuracy. I haven't actually grouped this gun outside of zeroing it, but I can say it is definitely more accurate than all my AKs. So edge to this on accuracy, it's probably, if I were to guess, it would be about a 2 to 2.5 MOA gun with decent ammo. Not even good ammo, but decent ammo. So edge goes to this in accuracy. So next up is gonna be ergos. So a lot of people will argue because the Bren 2 has a bolt hold open feature and a bolt release feature that's ambi. I don't actually use the ambi feature on this just because it's inside the trigger guard. I know they make a replacement for that. I just haven't bought it yet because I wasn't sure if I was going to keep this gun, but it has those features. So I would give it a slight edge on bolt hold open reloads. Now, this is going to be a little controversial because people love their straight insert magazines, but I am going to tell you my opinion, hands down, in terms of reloads. I think Rock and Lock is a much more solid, reliable system to do tactical reloads. That buzzword, right? Where, let's put this down, where you already have a round in the chamber, you're just topping off. I just think the AK and the Rock and Lock magazine is better for that, and it's just simply because often you have to download your AR magazines, 1 or 2, or you really have to tap that magazine in to make it seat. AKs are so much simpler. You just rock it in, that click, you're done, and you're ready to get off to the races again. So I think AKs have the edge in tactical reloads. Sorry about that, cut, had a passerby. But next is the safety. The safety on an AK is a little slower. Now, it is not as bad as a lot of people want to say. I know DJ Shipley wants to say the safety is absolutely unusable, but I've never seen so many mental gymnastics to just use an AK the complete worst way. I saw him go like this. I saw him like try and like do all sorts of weird stuff opposed to the simple AK safety, right? That's been around forever. People have been doing that forever. And I hope it's just he just didn't know, but I don't know. So the safety, definitely the Bren has an edge with its AR style safety. So little bit of an edge there, but I don't think it's as big as a lot of people talk, because this is not unusable. I know it's a wild concept, right? So next is gonna be the thing that the Bren 2 is definitely gonna take a hit on, which is availability of parts. The Bren 2, very scarce to find parts. CZ did not do a very good job of having those available, unfortunately. So it's just something you're gonna have to live with the Bren 2. You might wanna call them and say, hey, can I order these parts? But the aftermarket has come up with some solutions like the HB Industries handguard and the gas plug, which the gas plug I think is a must-have for your AK. Either do the KNS or do the HB Industries. They both work really well. And I've been running this guy a lot and I really like it. But availability of parts and accessories, you gotta give the win to the AK. There's mounds of AK accessories at this point, and you're just gonna be able to outfit that a little easier than the Bren 2, right? And the magazines on the AK, they're much more prevalent, they're everywhere. The Bren 2 does take proprietary magazines, but they're unlike the AR magazines. I don't know if you can see that on the Bren 2, but it has a full curve. So the magazine is actually oversized. It won't fit in an AR mag well to accommodate that full curve. I will tell you, I haven't had any magazine related malfunctions with this gun. The only malfunctions I've had is just because the gun's getting too gunky and dry. Now, let's get into how they shoot. We'll go ahead. I know there's controversy with T-Rex arms, so if you don't like them, that's more power to you. Personally, I don't want to support them anymore, but I've been tracking my pistol and carbine skills for a while off their app, and I just like to use the 50 round pistol and carbine skills on their app just to kind of track my progress. And so we'll do the 50 round carbine. We'll both run them both head to head. Unfortunately, there's an unfair advantage to the one going second because it's not a cold start anymore, but we'll see how we do. Let's cut to that. Pretty terrible cold run. This is my left target. This is my center. And this is my right. So not great. Oops, stock unfolded. All right, so we did a little better with the CZ Bren 2. As you see, most A's, a few C's floating around on the left. The middle is kind of where I really scattered. Didn't do well here for some reason, but still got a decent amount of A's, C's, and only a couple D's, no mics. And lastly, I did give this guy a haircut, but it's a line break for a C, so I counted it. If you don't think I should have counted it, go ahead and tell me. But overall, pretty stacked. Not my best shooting today, but we all have our off days, you know? So I didn't do a double take. I probably should have shot the AK again just because it was a really rough cold start. Fairly early in the morning. I was tired, not having a great day, right? So hands down, the Bren 2 was the winner. And let's go over why. I'm going to use the excuse zone alert because I normally shoot AKs better, but let's just hit it. First, cold start, I ran the AK. So my fundamentals weren't great. I was kind of having a lazy day. I wasn't pulling the gun in and, you know, delivering on what I needed to deliver to make sure the gun wasn't bouncing around too much. Then the other thing was I had just switched to an ALG trigger on it, and I'm on the fence about ALG triggers. One hand, they're very light, they're very easy to shoot fast, but the other hand, they don't have a wall, which is kind of a bummer to me because I like to reset to the wall and reshoot. And so it's a really weird experience when I'm shooting fast, which I can shoot faster, but sometimes I tab off a second round before I want to. So the dot's going up, it's coming back down, and I tapped off the second round. That's what I was finding happening a lot with the AK, unfortunately. So I'm done with the excuses. I really was just shooting really bad, but Bren 2 took the cake, period. So after that, which gun do I prefer? I still prefer the AK. I know my shooting didn't reflect it today, but I had a rough cold start and I started to get into the groove with the Bren. Now the Bren, I do shoot a little more accurately and a little faster, and that's just simply because there's borderline no recoil with this HP Industries and the Canon. It's just incredibly soft to shoot. And so I just find myself, it borderlines on like a 5.56 rifle, a really gassy 5.56 rifle, versus the AK. It's over-gassed to begin with, and I need to get a KNS piston, and it's not suppressed. So it had two things going against it for that. Typically, I will shoot the AK quite a bit better, but unfortunately, that wasn't today. So not gonna recut it. Bren 2 won by a long shot there, but I do prefer the AK. It is availability of parts, it's magazines, it is the robust reliability and standing to neglect. It's honestly just, it's more than capable out to realistic distances, and if I get that gun gassed a little better, I definitely could pick up the speed. So am I keeping this? The short answer is yes. I really like this gun. I really like the CZ Bren 2. I already have an 11-inch 5.56 that I love. This gun is near and dear to my heart as well. I like it just as much as my 5.56 Bren 2. That's saying something. But where does it fit in terms of roles for me? For me, this is an ideal travel gun. It is really filling that niche for being able to fit in my suitcase or something like that, because I don't believe in leaving guns in your car. We'll go over that at a later date, but this fits that role, and so that's where this is going to stay. I like it so much, I'm keeping it. I will definitely solidly recommend one, so long as you get the HP Industries gas plug. So that's all I got for you guys today. Don't forget, go outside, touch grass, and eat ass, all right?